Hey, I'm Nick,
And I'm Ally.
and this is the But Have You Tried Bookshelf. We're coming to you live from the David A. Howe Public Library, but maybe you're listening Wednesdays at 4 p.m. on 92.7 FM out of Angelica. Wherever you're listening, welcome. We're glad to have you.
Absolutely.
Allie and I just listened to the new Beatles song Now and Then because we sat down to record and I realized it had just come out, and I knew myself well enough to know that I would never be able to focus on anything until we
The
listened
whole episode, you'll just be like,
to the new Beatles track Now and Then. So we have that little mini video that you can watch another time. But in short, I thought it was really good.
It was good.
I liked it a lot. And we obviously are approaching it from two very different places because I love the Beatles. I had a whole year of my life devoted to trying to decide if I wanted the Beatles in mono or the Beatles in stereo.
Oh.
Yeah, it cost me a lot of relationships because I talked about it nonstop. So I finally went with
was it worth it?
It was worth it, and I finally went with mono because the Beatles themselves mixed the mono. Because back then nobody cared about stereo. Stereo was like newfangled.
Gotcha.
So I went with mono, and I think it was the right choice. But Now and Then is a new single from a track, a demo that John Lennon recorded in 1977, shortly before his death in 1980. And then when the Beatles were working on the anthology in the mid-90s, they messed with it a little bit, enough for George Harrison to record some guitar for it. Then they abandoned it, and then as technology advanced decades later, and after the Let It Be film that Peter Jackson did, they realized that they really could isolate John's vocal and piano on there and get a clean cut of it. Paul and Ringo kind of went back in the studio and finished it, so it's a really nice end cap, I feel like, to the Beatles catalog. And as you said in our mini video, I mean, the tone of it, the lyrics of it, and everything kind of feel like an end cap.
It
you know?
does, yeah.
So. Yeah, I pre-ordered mine from Music Alley right here in Wellsville. He got the cool 45 that's in blue vinyl, so I was very excited to get that. So we gave it a spin, and I've got no complaints. I wanted a little more McCartney, so that's one complaint, but it's minor.
No other complaints.
It's very minor.
No worthwhile complaints.
It's very, very minor. How was your Halloween?
It was good.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was good.
What did you do?
So I hosted a teen Halloween party at the
Okay,
library,
okay, that's exciting.
which this is the second year I've done that. And
Okay.
I have to say that it ranks higher for me than handing out candy because the one year that I handed out candy, like as an adult
Yeah.
after college, because in college, like sometimes kids would come to
Oh,
the
sure,
dorms.
for the dorms. Mm-hmm.
Like nobody really like I had a few come to the to like
Yeah,
get candy,
to your-
but
yeah.
it was pretty sparse, and so hosting a teen Halloween party feels much more festive.
Was better. I went around with my son and my niece and my nephew and my brother-in-law, and it was wild. Wellsville was packed this Halloween.
I
so.
saw like shaving cream all over the sidewalk.
Did
and
you?
stuff
Oh, I
everywhere.
didn't actually see it, but yeah, that does happen. But yeah, I mean, we made the rounds, and at my house, my wife was home dressed as Captain Marvel,
Oh,
and
nice.
yeah,
A good
and
choice.
she gave out a lot of candy. She had to like turn the lights off, drive over to Tops, fully dressed as Captain Marvel,
Of course.
and buy more candy. So it was
I
pretty
love that.
successful. I was dressed as Captain Man from the Nickelodeon show Henry Danger. Are you familiar with this? Do you know it at all?
Only from you talking about
Just
it.
me. Only
it has.
me.
It sounds like a fake Captain Man though. It sounds like a fake.
Well, it's
name.
it's kind of spoofy, you know.
That makes sense. But it sounds like you're like, Captain.
You know, it's
Man.
Yeah, it's one of those Nickelodeon shows where it's like Captain Man is a superhero and he needs a sidekick, and that's where Henry Danger comes in. He's Kid Danger, and it has no right being as funny as it is. It's
Fair enough.
It's so good, and like we all like it. My son likes it. My wife and I like it. So yeah, we were originally, my son and I were going to go as Captain Man and Kid Danger. He pivoted. He went as Willow, a character from the Roblox game Piggy. Great costume. He made his own costume. He made
Good
the
for
mask
him.
and everything. Looked good, but it kind of ruined the dynamic.
Group costumes can be dangerous.
Yeah, it didn't happen. Have you been? Well, you were part of a group.
I was part of a group
costume this time.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, how it happened actually is I independently decided that I wanted to dress up as a head of garlic.
So on brand.
Which,
It's-
like, months ago, I think I'd been reading the graphic novels
Yeah.
Garlic and the Vampire
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
Garlic and the Witch, which
Yeah.
are wonderful.
Yeah.
So good. Highly
Mhm.
recommend. And I was talking with Daphne and Corey, some of our coworkers here, and
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I'd love to be dress up as a garlic at some
Who
point. I
wouldn't?
feel like that would be so
Who
fun.
wouldn't?
Right, honestly.
Right.
It's like, and then, like, I want to say it was, like, maybe the beginning of September, I was like, wait, Halloween is coming, and I had an idea for what I wanted to be, and now I don't remember what it was.
Mm.
And they were like, oh, you said you wanted to dress up as a garlic. And I was like, you're right. How could I have forgotten this?
Yeah.
So I started working on my garlic costume, and Caleb and I had discussed a little bit, like, did he want to be, like, a different vegetable? Because there's a bunch of vegetables, like sentient vegetables in the series. All right. Like a carrot is, like, garlic's friend and everything.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, I could be a green bean, like, just, like, take a green piece of cardboard and wrap it around me and be a green bean. But what we finally settled on is for him to be a vampire.
Yeah.
Which works well, kind of, with his natural coloring, like the dark hair, pale skin situation. So, he was a vampire.
Now, garlic and vampires have a famously toxic relationship. I hope that's not...
No.
You guys are fine. You get along.
But it was kind of for the memes of being like, oh, yeah, I'm a head of garlic, and he's a vampire.
Okay. All right. Well... at least our colors matched, my wife and I. It was a lot of reds and blues and
yellows.
That's
true.
So
yeah, I could see that going very well
Yeah,
together.
It looks good. It looks good. Have you been reading or watching anything, Allie? Let's roll onto this bookshelf and see what we got going on. Let's talk movies first, because I think you're going to let me down. So let me know. Let me know. What's your featured movie this month?
So I only watched 2 movies this month that I'm aware of.
There's no shame in that.
And one of them was The Others, which we talked about for the podcast.
Indefinitely. Yeah, we did a lot.
The other movie that I watched this month is To All the Boys I Loved Before.
Okay. I know that. What is that?
It's like a high school rom-com kind of movie.
Okay.
It's based on a book of the same title by Jenny Han.
Okay.
There's a whole like trilogy of them. And the movie came out in, I want to say it was like 2015 or so. And I think I watched it with like my sister or some of my friends or some combination of. And it's like, it's just a fun, cute, rom-com-y high school movie. Yeah. It's like a fake dating situation where like she and this guy both agree to, be in a fake relationship, and you know how this goes.
That's
obviously.
it's a classic trope. Yeah.
So, but I feel like it's really a classic of that genre, and I reread the book. Well, I read the book for the first time recently, and so I kind of had it in my mind that I wanted to rewatch. So I made Caleb watch it with me.
Okay.
He didn't like it as much as I liked it,
but
he was okay with it.
Classic vampire. What are you gonna do?
Right.
Just doesn't like it. Okay.
That's my movie spotlight.
I watched sort of a teeny rom-com that I liked. It's called You're So Not Invited to My Bat Mitzvah.
Oh, I feel like I've seen trailers
Netflix,
for that.
Yeah, it's a Netflix thing.
Was it good?
Yeah, it was pretty good. I mean, it reminded me a lot of Never Have I Ever, also on Netflix. A lot of similar vibes, but basically these two sort of get into a fight right before their bat mitzvahs, and then, it just spirals out of control. And can their friendship be saved? And it probably,
that sounds kind of fun.
It probably can. But it was, it was a good time. But that's not my featured movie.
Okay.
My featured movie is a rewatch, but for the spooky season, I watched Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the 1956 version with Kevin McCarthy and Dana Winter. Have you watched any version of Invasion of the Body Snatchers?
Not to my knowledge.
So you could have accidentally, or if you didn't know the title, it's possible that you could have stumbled into it.
I can't 100% guarantee that I haven't.
Can't rule it out.
I'm pretty sure that I have.
But it's probably a no. Okay. It's a great movie. It's based on Jack Finney's book, Body Snatchers, which originally was serialized in Collier's Magazine and then printed as a book and then made into a movie several times now. 4 times, I want to say.
That's
most recent with Nicole Kidman.
A lot of body snatching.
I know. Nicole Kidman and Daniel Craig did one that was also pretty good, but you just can't top the original. The original, Jack Finney is my favorite author, period. Love all of his stuff. And a lot of Jack Finney dialogue makes it through the screenwriting process. So it's in there, it's in the movie. And so he'll say some things now and then, and I'm like, Jack Finney line, and I love it.
Nice.
It's very, I don't know, it's atmospheric, it's spooky, it keeps you sort of on the edge of your toes. It's a very well-made movie, and I think it really holds up. It's brief, it's like an hour 20. You're in and out. It doesn't overstay. It's welcome.
I love a brief movie.
Yeah, me too. We've discussed this at length.
Yeah. I never want to be sitting there thinking about how much time has passed and how much time is going to pass.
Yeah.
Like, that's a sign either that it's not good enough of a movie or it's too long or a little bit of both.
Yeah, you can sort of rate how I feel about a movie at how many times I check the counter, to see how much time I got left. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you hit that timer and you've got like an hour left, it's not a good feeling.
Yeah.
It's
like,
not
all right,
a good
let me
feeling.
pause and get a bunch of snacks.
Yeah, exactly. You do need food for it. But Invasion of the Body Snatchers, both the book and the movie, the 70s movie with Donald Sutherland and Leonard Nimoy, also great. There's one in the 90s that's set on like a military base that I've never actually seen. But All the others, I'm a fan of.
You know, I don't think I've ever heard you mention a movie without immediately knowing like two of the actors who are in it. I don't know how you do it, but it's kind of amazing.
Thank you.
They just roll right off the tongue.
Well, I do what I can. I got a couple of hot takes for you because I did watch more.
Okay.
I watched The Kane Mutiny Court Martial, which is, there's the Kane Mutiny classic movie, classic book. And then there was a stage play that kind of pulled out the court martial portion of it. And this was an adaptation of that play. You really felt that this was a play. And for the most part, it worked. But I think it would have been better on stage. So, good, not great. Good, not great. And then I watched the Ghostbusters series, which I've never in my life seen a Ghostbusters movie. And I went through all 4 of them, and I watched them with my son, and he liked them. He's like a Ghostbusters fan. He's ready for the sequel to Ghostbusters Afterlife. So I had a good time with all of them. The original doesn't have a lot of ghosts in it, which was a problem. I liked the second one a little better. I was really happy with Afterlife, and the only one I'd seen before was the Melissa McCarthy one from, I want to say, 2016. Melissa McCarthy, Leslie Jones, Kristen Wiig, and Kate McKinnon.
See, so many actors just...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Look at
right.
There you go. I just proved it. So that was sort of I had a very Ghostbusters Halloween this year.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, and I'm ready for the sequel, which is supposed to come out in 2024. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Had a good time. To wait.
I know. Your movie watching has, it sucks.
Yeah.
If I could just say it outright.
Well, there was like a bunch of... There was one weekend that we were gone.
Oh, you're making a garlic costume
I was
from
making
scratch,
a garlic costume from scratch.
Yeah.
Which I made most of it out of a tablecloth. So.
Okay. That's very industrious.
Leftover scraps of a tablecloth that I'd already used for something else. I was gone one weekend, and then I think basically maybe the other like 3 weekends in October... Yeah. My brothers were like, what if we just played games instead?
You had a wedding anniversary, right?
We
in
did
October,
have a wedding anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
Happy, it's your first anniversary.
It is our first anniversary.
That's
it
exciting.
Feels weird that it's been that long, and also weird that it hasn't been longer
I know that feeling.
Yeah.
I know that feeling.
So, but we went to a little bed and breakfast on the coast of Lake Erie and wandered around. It was cold, but very nice. That sounds nice. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Did you find any good restaurants?
We did. We had pizza at a very nice pizza restaurant.
Okay. I love some pizza.
Really cute little like small slices.
Okay.
Like short.
Yeah.
And then we went to another restaurant where I had fish fry.
Oh.
I was definitely.
Yes, I do miss the fish fry. That's one thing that my vegetarian lifestyle has taken from me.
So you're not a fish eating vegetarian?
I was for a while, and I just kind of got over it. I was like, I don't want that.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't eat a whole bunch of meat, but I do love some fish.
Yeah, I do too. I've had some. My wife made a really convincing fish fry from there's all sorts of different things. There's like seaweed wraps in there to give it kind of like that fishy taste and everything. Yeah. It worked really well. But
that sounds fun.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you had your anniversary, so I'll excuse you.
I was busy.
Now watching movies. Are you watching shows?
A little bit of shows.
Okay.
So my featured show for the month.
Okay, I'm ready.
Is Exo Kitty, which is a spin-off from To All the Boys I Loved Before.
Okay. All right.
Which is part of why we rewatched To All the Boys, because I had read the book, like I said, and then I was watching the spin-off show, and I was like, we gotta rewatch the original.
You gotta get in there. Okay.
So I wasn't sure what I would think about this show.
Sorry, is this live action? Is this animated?
It's live action.
Okay.
So what it is it follows the main character from To All the Boys,
okay,
her younger sister, who in the first movie is like 11, I want to say.
Okay.
And she's now a junior in high school.
Okay.
And she goes to Korea to study at the school that her mom, who passed away when she was really young, studied at when she was also a junior in high school.
Okay.
And her like long distance boyfriend is also there, and so there's all kinds of like K-drama inspired nonsense, which was pretty fun, I have to say. I enjoyed the show a lot. I thought the main actress did great. It was fun to see her like a little more grown up and still very much the same character, even though experiencing different things. But the ending did not resolve as many things as I was hoping.
Oh, and it's like the ending.
There is another season, but not until 2025.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't like this new thing. It's too long. Just give me my shows.
It's a long time.
I want short seasons, but I want them to come quickly.
Well, that's the thing. It was like a season of like 8 or 10 episodes, all half an hour. So like pretty short.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, yep, now we're going to wait till 2025.
Yeah, that's...
But I had a good time.
That's a stretch.
Until, I came out of the room where I was watching it and like dramatically dropped my computer cord on the ground and was like, dude, you're so anything.
Yeah, I know that feeling. Yeah. Any hot takes? Anything else on your list?
We finished the second season of Superman and Lois.
Ooh.
Whilst away for our honeymoon.
Okay, yes.
Or anniversary, I guess.
Yeah.
And I'm also rewatching the third season of Mrs. Maisel with some friends.
Okay. All right. How'd you
holds
feel?
Up for a rewatch.
Superman and Lois season 2?
It was good.
It's a little off the rails.
Parts of it, I was like, certain characters making certain choices.
Yeah.
I was like, why would you have to do this?
Well, it's like season 1 of Superman and Lois is very like small, narrow focus. You know, it's like family stuff, and season 2 is like what, like sort of universe shaking kind of stuff. And it
is funny to me. There's some moments when it's like, by the way, you know, this world-ending catastrophe might help. So we're gonna tell the mayor of Smallville.
I know. Yeah.
It's like, all right. I mean, cool. It's good that she knows, but maybe you should tell somebody else.
Maybe, yeah. So a little higher up on the chain might be
gosh.
good. Okay. Look, my featured show. I've talked about it so much. I'm almost ashamed to say it again.
Sometimes that's just how it goes.
But I just finished season 4 of Star Trek Lower Decks. It's so good. It's so good. I got to get you on board.
Sometime it'll happen.
You keep saying that, and then it doesn't happen.
I don't watch a lot of shows by myself.
Okay. Oh, your husband's not interested. He wouldn't.
Well, I think I don't know if he's seen all of it, but I know he's seen a lot of it.
Okay.
And and I'm like, I don't think that he wouldn't rewatch it with me. But like, if we're already it's like one show at a time is about as much as we can handle.
No, I get it.
And so it's like, well, the one show that I'm watching with him, like that niche is filled. The one show that I'm watching with friends, that niche is filled.
Yeah.
I watched one show by myself for the first time in like probably more than a year, I have to say.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
it might be a while, but it'll happen eventually.
Yeah, it will happen eventually, because if you don't, I'll just have to use it for one of my slots. And what have you tried? Because I know the answer, and the answer is no. You have not tried Star Trek Lower Decks. It's great. This is season 4. Again, it's the kind of show that if you're not a Star Trek fan, you can dive right in, and like there's so many deep cuts, but you don't need to know them. But if you do know them, like it's that much more fun. Season 4 had a callback to a character that was kind of like a one and done that I never would have expected to see again. And at this point, it's been 30 years, you know, since that character was around. So it was cool, but very funny, very fun. And the thing that I love about it is that like it works as a comedy, but it also is just like really good sci-fi and really good Star Trek. So
that's a pretty
hats
good combination.
off. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how they do it, but they do it over there on
I have to say,
Star Trek Lower Decks.
My main association with Star Trek Lower Decks is my brothers had started watching this at some point, and they were talking about it, and they were like, yeah, all the Klingon is pronounced really badly, and it's hilarious.
Huh. Okay.
It's like you can tell that it's intentionally pronounced wrong. And my mom was like, how do you know? Like, it's Klingon. You don't speak Klingon. And they were like, you can just tell. Like, if you watch Star Trek, you can just tell.
I couldn't, so I guess your brothers they're putting me to shame.
You'll have
and I have
to,
so many
have to
Star
think
Trek
about
pop
it
figures just right
Every
up
time
here.
There's Klingon,
I will.
Like,
I'll think about it.
Right.
Yeah. Well, what would the Stevic boys think of this? Is what I'll say to myself. I got a couple of hot takes. I finished some stuff. Speaking of Superman, I finished my Adventures with Superman over on Max. It was kind of the reason why we got Max temporarily, and I just never got into it. And it breaks my heart.
That's a shame.
Because just as I love the Beatles, I also love Superman. But my love for Superman is even older. And so I was excited for the show.
Is it stronger, though, or is it even?
Oh, gosh. I don't know.
Maybe that's not a question I should ask.
You'd have to poll my friends. I don't think I could answer that objectively. Which one is more? Ooh. But now I'm going to be distracted thinking about that because I don't know the answer.
You should never have said
You shouldn't have. No, that was a mistake on your part. I don't know if it's like the anime vibes of the show that just don't connect with me. I don't love all the interpretations of the characters. I really like the look of the show, particularly Superman. Looks great. I like seeing a Superman that's like good and kind and noble. Like the whole like Zack Snyder Man of Steel phase where Superman was just like unpleasant was not a happy time for me. So
I feel like that kind of misses the point of Superman.
It does. It fully misses the point of it. So in that regard, I'm glad that it's there, and I feel like it's probably reaching people. It's probably gaining new Superman fans of people who have written Superman off for like a long time. So again, for its evangelical approach to getting new Superman fans.
Oh my gosh.
I can't
There's
knock it for that.
something you don't say every day.
I know. Well, maybe I do. You don't know.
Maybe you do. That's true.
I finished a show on Apple called Still Up, and it's about these two friends who have insomnia and they just like talk on the phone all night.
Huh.
Not as fun as I wanted it to be. It's sort of like I don't really get your relationship and I think you're bad for each other. You know, It just didn't. Yeah. So finished that season. I don't know. It was only 8 episodes and they were half-hour shows. So once we'd watched like 3 of them, my wife was like, I don't want to watch this anymore. And I was like, but we're so close. We're so close to the finish line. So we finished it, and I don't think I'm any better or worse for having finished it, but I have. Fall of the House of Usher. I watched Fall of the House of Usher. And I know you don't like scary things.
Well,
so you
I
probably...
mean, Edgar Allan Poe, I can take some Edgar Allan Poe.
See, my wife was picked up on a lot of the deep cuts to all the Edgar Allan Poe references. That I was like a raven, I get that, but that was pretty much, for me, that was the extent of it. So she got them all, and she would sort of be like, okay, this is from this story. It's not really scary, and it's by Mike Flanagan, who did like Haunting of Hill House and Bly Manor and Midnight Mass. Really liked Haunting of Hill House. This, I don't know. I watched every episode, and I'm like, the performances are good. I don't really know like what the point of this is. And we finished it, and I did not feel satisfied. I felt kind of like, well, what was that all about?
Yeah.
I feel like they, in the end, kind of tried to go for sort of a political swing and sort of this is how bad like wealth corrupts and everything, which, true, but it just felt a little ham-fisted to me and not entertaining. I don't know.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, I wasn't into it, so that's it for me in TV watching. Do you want to talk books?
Sure, let's talk books.
Did you... I keep setting myself up for disappointment. Did you read any comics or graphic novels this time?
I did read a Sabrina the Teenage Witch YA graphic, which I think I mentioned to you already.
That's right, we did talk about that. And so you read Volume 1, you haven't read Volume 2 yet.
We don't own it.
We don't own it.
So I put it on my order list.
Okay, it's Kelly Thompson. Really, that first volume is really great.
It was fun.
Did you? I told you I was going to ask you, so it's your fault. But did you finish that Star Trek Next Generation?
I thought about it,
mirror?
but I didn't finish it.
So you even thought about it, and you just said, you know what? No,
well, it's like
I'm not
going
to give this the 10 minutes it's going to take.
Every time I thought about it was not a time when I could actively be reading it, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And it was a very busy month with like Halloween.
I heard, yeah. Not watching movies, making
not
garlic,
watching movies, exactly.
eating small pizza. It's so much.
I was too busy
so much
just
on your
feverishly
plate.
sewing cloves of garlic into a skirt and eating small pizza.
Yeah, was the hem even? Because I know you've had problems with that in the past.
It was intentionally not. Like, it was like little garlicky shapes. Mm-hmm. But the garlicky shapes, I think, were as even as they were supposed to be.
Okay.
So.
All right.
Yeah.
So you liked Sabrina. That was your... Okay.
That was good.
Boy, I didn't intend this to be such a Superman spotlight, but let's keep rolling with it, because my highlight of this month is Superman: The Harvests of Youth.
And is this a graphic novel?
It is a graphic novel. It's a YA graphic novel. Just came out by Cinna Grace. It is really good. It's set in Smallville. And it's about Clark. Like, he has the powers. He's doing Superman-y things. He's not fully Superman yet. And sometimes with these DC's line of graphic novels for sort of like the junior level and the YA, sometimes they really work when it's sort of like superhero before superhero. Sometimes they just don't. Like, there was a Dick Grayson one called Lost Carnival, and I was like, I don't know what that was. I didn't...
I feel like it can be hard to do a story about a superhero before they're a superhero.
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah. But this one worked, and that's what impressed me about it. It just works as a good, like, YA graphic. I mean, because it's, it's high school and stuff they're going through and relationships and things. All of that's there. But it also sort of has that Superman-ness, that comes through. The art was great. It was good. I think we have that here. I think it's coming. But I would recommend that. I would recommend that too. Superman fans and just like YA graphic fans. Couple of hot takes. I read, because I did a lot of Ghostbusters, as you'll recall. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles / Ghostbusters. I love a good crossover. This was not as fun as the Ninja Turtles Power Rangers crossover. And partly because it just didn't give me enough of what I wanted. It's just like, this is... A crossover like this has got to be just like pure fan service. Otherwise, like, what's the point? You know what I mean? And I want to see the Ninja Turtles dressed like Ghostbusters. You know what I mean? I want to see the Ninja Turtles like splitting a piece of pizza with Slimer, and it didn't happen. So, it was okay. It was okay. I read Wonder Woman Black and Gold, which we featured in one of our reels for Wonder Woman's 80th, I want to say. Anniversary? That seems wrong. 85th?
A lot of years.
Whatever.
I don't know how many.
It's
but
a long time ago.
A
long time ago for Wonder Woman. And this is a new anthology collection, and it's the art is really cool, and it only uses gold and shades of black.
That is cool.
So yeah, there was a Superman red and blue Superman again. That came out a few years back. That didn't quite work as well because they're just they're just like primary colors, just like red, blue. I don't know. Didn't have the same vibe, but the black and gold, like the use of the gold, I felt like was really powerful in the art, and it covered all the different phases of Wonder Woman history. So it was cool. It was definitely worth a read, and I think even like a casual Wonder Woman fan could get in on it. So
I like a good comic with a limited color scheme if it's well done.
Yeah.
I read a webtoon a while ago that I really liked called Warning Label, and the only colors that are used are the colors of the warning label. So it's like red, yellow, and like brownish,
that sounds
grayish,
kind of unpleasant,
I think it is.
but okay.
It sounds unpleasant, but I feel like it's very. It's kind of it's cartoony in its drawing.
Okay.
And so I feel like it just kind of makes it pop and feel like fun rather than being like, oh, I feel unsettled and like I'm being warned.
Okay. All right. What about books? What about books?
Okay.
Book.
My book
Book.
pick of the month.
Okay.
Is Witch by Eva Ibbotson.
Oh, I've read, what did I can't remember. I read a book about a dog that she wrote.
Okay, she's written quite a bunch of books.
Yeah. Okay, so you liked it?
I did like it. It was fun.
You're on a journey. You are on journey. Every time we talk, you've got some new witch thing.
I like my good witch content.
You had a Goodreads review. I don't even remember what it was, but you were like, I didn't know I needed this witch thing in my life. And I was like...
I think it was for this one.
Okay, because I read that and I was like, you didn't know because I knew you needed that. Like, I've been listening to the show, so I knew... You know.
Basically what it is, it's like a junior level novel.
Yeah.
And it's like witch.
There's a one with like The Bachelor?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
It's like The Bachelor for witches combined with Miss America for witches.
Yeah.
This like cranky wizard dude. Like a good nice character, but
all right.
Wizard and cranky, a little tired of doing his wizardy stuff. He decides he needs a new wizard to like replace him in this like scary spooky hall where he lives because he's getting tired of And so one of his, like, staff basically suggests that he gets married and has a kid, and that kid, wizard, can, like, take over for him. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I don't know about this, but I guess we'll try. So they have a competition for all the, like, local witches to try and win and, like, be his wife, basically. Mm-hmm. So that's where the Bachelor element comes in.
Sure, there it is.
But his one staff member who's organizing it is, like, a big fan of the Miss America contest. So he basically makes it like that, but for witches.
Okay.
But the main character is a white witch named Belladonna.
Okay.
And he's specifically looking for, like, a dark, spooky black witch.
Oh, okay, sure.
And so she's, like, trying really hard to be a dark, spooky black witch.
That's
but
fun.
It's, like, not really working.
Not her wheelhouse. Okay.
But, spoilers, she ends up getting married to him anyway. So it was a fun time.
That was a major spoiler. Yeah. Okay.
Well, you can kind of tell from the very beginning that that's what's going to happen.
Okay.
So I don't feel like it's as much of a spoiler as it sounds like.
All right. Accepted. This is not my featured book, but I am also reading a witch book. Oh. I'm reading The Witching Hour by Anne Rice, and it's very long. And I was really like cooking through it, you know, like the ebook, because I checked it out from Libby, everybody, with your library card, you can have free access to books and audiobooks and magazines. It's great.
Yeah, I listened to Witch
I love it.
on Libby.
There you go. So I'm reading this, and the audiobook is like 1,400 pages, and so like it's a commitment.
It's a lot.
But I was really digging it, you know. So I get to book 2, and everything leading up to this has been kind of a sort of tight circle on some primary characters, you know, this current generation of the Mayfair family. Book 2 rolls in, and it's like 1,600, and I was like, oh no. And it's all just like filling in the Mayfair history from like the 1600s to like the 1980s.
That's so much.
It's like, it's not like the writing suddenly becomes bad or something, but like the other stuff is just sort of like narration, and these are written as like letters. They're written, and so it's like it becomes a different style. Mm-hmm. I was listening to a little bit of the audiobook, and the narrator kind of changes her vibe and gets like sort of a British like proper accent, and it's just like, it's killing me because I was really like moving through quickly, and I'm at this point where I'm just like, okay, where are we at? 1700s? Oh my gosh. So I'm trying not to skim. I'm failing, but I'm trying to just like soak it all up and get back to the main story, but I was really invested in where we were.
It does feel like a hard pivot.
And it was like 400 pages into this book that suddenly,
that's insane.
So it's not peppered through the whole thing. It's like you know what this book is, and then you turn the page, and it's like,
I feel like an epistolary novel can be fun, but like you have to consent to that. If that makes like you know what you're getting into, and you're like, yeah, it's an epistolary novel, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
That's quite a turn.
So I'm reading along, and it's like I read this chapter and the chapters become huge. They become mammoth in this. So it's like 100-page chapter or something. And so I get to the end of one of these like 1700 chapters, and I'm back to Rowan, who's like one of the primary characters. And I'm like, oh my gosh, thank goodness. 5 pages. And then I'm back to the 1600s for another like 100-page. So it's really, I think this book is setting out to mess with me, and it's succeeding. So anyway, that might be my featured book down the road. But right now, I want to tell you about The Andromeda Evolution by Daniel H. Wilson.
Okay.
Do you know anything or care about Michael Crichton? Is that a thing that you Jurassic Park, that sort of Michael Crichton?
I've heard of Jurassic Park.
Look at this one. Look at this one over here. She's heard of Jurassic Park, ladies and gentlemen. The Andromeda Evolution is not written by Michael Crichton. It's a posthumous release, and it's the only of the posthumous releases that's just like the world of Michael Crichton. So it's not written from a unfinished manuscript or some trunk book that Crichton had. It's just here's the Andromeda strain, write a sequel. So it does maintain a Crichton-y vibe. It incorporates elements of the Andromeda strain and kind of treats the book Andromeda strain like a history. We talked a little bit about this on the House Things Halloween special, but it manages to get the tone pretty well. The only thing that I feel like if you are a deep like fan of the Andromeda strain, it kind of fundamentally changes what the Andromeda strain is. Because that's the evolution part of it. And so Andromeda Strain is not a book that I'm like in love with, and so I was kind of okay with the pivot, but while I was reading that I was like, man, a real like diehard Crichton fan I don't think would be happy with this. So
yeah, I feel like if you're like making a sequel or following up on someone else's work and you choose to like radically change the way something is, that can definitely be a bad move.
Yeah, and it is an odd choice. Like, I don't know that of all of Crichton's books, I don't know that Andromeda Strain was the one that was like begging for a sequel, Like, so it was a weird choice, but I ended it and I was like, yeah, I liked it. I think it was pretty good. And I've now weirdly read all of the posthumous Crichton releases, so
good for you.
Yeah,
Congrats.
I can check that. I can check that off the list. My other hot take is one called From a Certain Point of View. This is a Star Wars thing, and they did one that was stories from minor characters around all the movies. So they did A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back. This is the Return of the Jedi one. This is 40 stories for 40 years of Return of the Jedi, and it is relentless. It just won't stop. So
40 stories is a lot.
It's so many. And like, I was reading this for a book club with my friends, and I think maybe if I was just like had this on my shelf and I was like, I'm going to read one of these short stories today, probably would have been fine. Trying to read them back to back to back to back to back was like, I can't read a story about this window washer from Cloud City anymore. Like, it's just it's too much. So I got exhausted with that pretty quick, and I was very happy to be done, even though there were some really good stories in it.
I feel like it can be harder to just like shovel down stories. Well, because you have to keep like changing your
you're starting fresh every time,
and they're not all going to be as good. So it's like, I feel like it's hard to keep the motivation for them.
Part of it, I think, too, is the structure of it. So, well, I guess I should first ask: have you seen Return of the Jedi?
Which one is that?
It's the one with the Ewoks.
Yeah.
So you've seen it. So
well, all the titles like sound. I mean, I've seen all of the like main ones.
Okay.
But all of the titles just sound really similar, and I think of them with numbers.
Yeah.
And so I'm always
6?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. All right.
That I'm like, oh yeah, I know what we're talking about.
Again, with 40 stories, I think maybe if they would have not done it chronologically, it might have been a little bit better, because like the first, I don't know, 15 stories were all kind of set in like the Jabba's palace stuff, which just got really old.
Yeah,
because I think if it would have been like a Jabba story, an Endor story, a Death Star story, I think maybe it would have been a little bit more palatable.
I could definitely see that.
I don't know. I didn't love it. And look, I know that Cloud City was in Empire Strikes Back, okay? I just want everybody to get off my back, because I do know that. All right, it was just an example, so don't at me. Any other hot takes for you, book-wise?
Let's see. I also read Manslaughter Park. by Tirza Price.
Okay.
Which is the third of the Jane Austen murder mysteries.
Oh. Okay.
And Mansfield Park is definitely my least favorite Jane Austen novel.
Okay. Good to
so
know.
I was very interested to see what she was going to do with this, but I liked it. I thought she retained what needed to be retained of the original and twisted what needed to be twisted. Yeah. So
remember when we did a whole Jane Austen episode?
I do.
Good times.
It was fun.
No Dorothy Sayers?
No Dorothy Sayers.
Wow.
But Caleb and I are reading through the Penduick series, which is one of my favorites.
All right.
We finished the third one this morning, and we just started the fourth one, which is definitely overall the most like sad and emotional. Like it's not only sad, but it's the one that has the most consistently like emotional elements. And so I was like, I shouldn't go to work with red eyes from crying, and it's only because of the Pendricks.
I started reading N or M, which is the third Tommy and Tuppence book, Agatha Christie.
Nice.
And I did it mostly because I don't want you to finish that series before I do.
See, now that just sounds like a challenge.
It is a challenge, and
now that I know we're competing.
We are competing. I read the first two, and then you've read what? You read the first one.
The first one.
So, yeah. So I can't... I just want to complete these 5 books so I can read a whole Agatha Christie series, and I can't let you... You're nipping at my heels, and I can't take it. Okay. So I'm reading NRM. I like it so far. It's set in World War II. The fun thing about the Tommy and Tuppence series is their ages drastically change. The first one, they're like little teens, and the second one, I don't even remember. I feel like they're more like 30s. And this one is World War II, and they're just like pretty, they're kind of old. They're like 50s.
That's kind of cool.
And it keeps going. Postern of Fate, which is Agatha Christie's last book and the last Tommy and Tuppence, they're old, like 70s, 80s,
That's cool.
Like the Beatles. And we just listened to the Beatles.
True.
All right.
Coming together.
What about just in your life? Any other fun things happen to you?
Other than making a garlic costume.
Well, how could you top that?
And spooky stacks, which we did.
Spooky stacks here, yeah. Yes. Terrified some children, I hear. So.
We tried not to terrify children too much, but a little bit was inevitable, I guess.
Yeah. You just hung the teen photo show.
Yes.
So that's up. That's up and running.
And ready for voting.
Sponsored by the Wellsville Rotary Club. So thanks to the Wellsville Rotary Club there for doing that. When is the reception for that?
It's on November 16th, which is a Thursday.
Yeah.
At 6 p.m. And it's coming up pretty quick. So if you want to vote on your favorite,
is it?
Do it soon.
Voting's going on now in the gallery?
Going on
okay.
In the gallery.
All right. Brian Oglesby's going to be our judge again. Brian's done it for many, many years. Longer than I've been here. He's been judging the teen photo show. So glad to have him back.
And he does a great job.
Yeah. But 1 year, it was your first year. The first year you started. Brian was going to do it, and then he was out of town, and then he couldn't do it, so we moved it to another time, and then he got COVID and couldn't travel, and it was like a whole. So he missed that. He missed that 1 year, but he's back. The person who judged it that year, Nick Davis of the ND Vision podcast, who has given us our assignment for next time, which is Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z. I did read the first Dragon Ball, so even before Dragon Ball Z, I read the first Dragon Ball manga. But I'm not going to tell you what I thought.
All right.
Have you done anything yet?
Not yet.
Okay, so we gotta watch the rest of it before our next episode. The only other thing that I did, which is a big one, my friend, Sally, who was on the show with us last time, she and I went to see Bob Dylan up in Rochester.
That was a big one.
It was great. We had terrible seats all the way in the back, and still good view. It was Bob Dylan live in the flesh. It was a pretty solid show. He did mostly cuts from his Rough and Rowdy Ways album, which came out in 2020, which we do have here in the collection. So if you still have a CD player, old, but you can check out the Rough and Rowdy Ways album. The Rolling Stones.
Been added.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm mad about the Cloud City thing. I gotta let it go. Rolling Stones released a new album called Hackney Diamonds, which is also very good. And features Paul McCartney playing bass on one of them.
Nice.
So look at everything coming full circle.
That's true.
It's the kind of magic that can happen here on But Have You Tried from the David A. Howe Public Library.
Just a synergy of Superman and the Beatles.
I mean, if that's what happens, then I guess I just have to accept it. Gosh, I guess that's it. I mean, we just gotta get on the whole Dragon Ball Z train. He said watch Dragon Ball Z Broly, one of the movies, so we gotta watch that. I'm gonna try to read a little bit of the manga, and my wife likes Dragon Ball Z, so I just happened to see some Dragon Ball Z Blu-rays at our house, and I was like, I didn't even know we had these, so
nice.
Maybe I'll watch some of those as well, because I'm prepared. And Nick is in it to win it with Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, yeah?
When I did his ND Vision podcast, which is a video up, so you can go find it anywhere, but he's wearing a Goku shirt in that. Just happened to be wearing it that day. So that's...
This feels like foreshadowing in real life or like
Yeah.
subliminal messaging.
Yeah, I
don't
guess
know.
so. I guess so. He manifested this crossover happening. So, yeah. So we gotta be prepared because I know he's gonna be.
It's true. We got to bring our A game.
That's right. Well, you can follow us on all the social medias, everybody. David A. Howe Library on Facebook, D.A. Howe Library on X. Anybody still on there? I'm not sure
I
if
don't
anybody's still doing it. We're on Threads now. Is anybody on there? Social media is dead. I think we just have to accept the fact that social media.
We're just back to the days of carrier
It is
pigeons.
a zombie. Yeah.
I wish I had a carrier pigeon. Actually,
know.
that would be amazing.
We need like a library crier. Just hire somebody to go stand on the
That
back
would be
terrace
cool.
and be like, "Teen photo show
I
coming
don't know
up."
if anyone would hear it from the back terrace with
All right,
like
well,
cars on the 4 lane.
Yeah, front terrace is fine too.
Just walk around town with like a
that's
big
okay.
sign yelling.
Yeah.
Maybe I should
Anyway,
do that actually. It sounds
you
kind
can
of fun.
follow us on all those social medias. You can also follow us on Tumblr if Allie remembers to update it, which, is
Sometimes I do.
it's a 50-50 situation. The books and movies we described today will be on display here at the David A. Howe Public Library, right on the Butt Heavy Tried bookshelf, which is an actual and, in fact, real
It is
physical
both, yeah,
bookshelf.
real and metaphysical.
That's true. Both ways. Doing Dragon Ball Z for the next episode. Dragon Ball Z Broly is going to be the main topic, but we're going to get into other things. So, listen to our back episodes. Listen to the ND Vision podcast to hear what Nick is all about. And join us next time as we continue this journey right here at the David A. Howe Public Library. Allison, until we meet again.
Farewell.
Okay.